All right. Hello, everybody here in the group. I'm Sylvie Cossette from Quebec City, Canada. And today I'm going to be giving you a summary of the 90-day run. And this is a summary of day 25. I really love this session that Eric did for day 25. And I'm really happy to share it with you. So what he did, yesterday, he was actually sharing like a really effective tool that we should all be using, and we should all be teaching our new people when they get started into the business, and that's using our stories. Okay, we should all have a 2-minute story, and it can be a story about the product, maybe a product experience, or it can be a 2-minute story on the business opportunity meeting. And he's really crafted it down to really simple steps that everybody can do. And this is why he thinks that learning to tell our story is really important. First of all, it can be used in many different ways. Before you start the presentation, you want to open the people up. Usually people, when they come, they might be a bit closed. But when you tell your story, you are actually humanizing yourself, and people can relate more to you. So it's a good way to open people up before you even start a presentation. It's great when you meet somebody on a one-on-one, just before you get started, you can say, hey, let me tell you my story. People love stories, and Eric says we should become really good storytellers. Even when we're using three-way chats, the person can use his own story to before you start the conversation and exchanging. So it's a really good way to open people up so that people can relate, they can connect to us, and very powerful tool. And we should, whenever we get a new associate started, we need to help them craft their story. And it's not very complicated. Most of us are making it too complicated, and we're making it often too long for nothing. He says aim for 2 minutes, and you'll realize to get your story into 2 minutes, you have to really work on it, cut it, try it, work on it, cut it again until you can get it done in 2 minutes. But it can be very, very powerful. All right. So there's actually just 4 elements to your story. So the first element is your background. Okay. So here we don't want to spend too much time talking about, the 5 or 10, 15 jobs that we have had in the past, all the series of diplomas that we have. We just want to say, what do we do? Okay, or what did we do before we started Max? Okay, so we want to be able to relate to the person. So if I'm a stay-at-home mom, that's what I am. I was a stay-at-home mom. I was a teacher. I was a professional. I was a small business owner. So we just specify what we did so people can relate. If they happen to have the same profession or the same job, they'll say, oh, he's like me. Okay, and already it creates a connection. All right, so that is a short part, just the background, and you can say maybe what you liked about your job, but then we're going to go into the most important part of your story, which is what you didn't like about it. Okay, so you might have a long list of things that you don't like about your job. Maybe not, maybe just a few, but to keep it simple, try to focus on 3 points. Okay, but here, what's really important is we're going to be talking about the things you didn't like about it, or we're talking about the pain points. Okay, so in this part here of your story, which is the most important part of your story, you want to get into the emotions. Okay, you want to be relatable, and you want people to say, oh yeah, I know what he means. I feel like that also. And he gave us a couple of examples. Okay, so he was saying, things that people sometimes might not appreciate in their job. Yeah, they might feel underappreciated. That was one of them. You might feel underpaid, or you might feel that you're limited in the income that you can actually make at your job. Maybe you're tired of a long commute going and coming back from your job. Maybe you just work like some really long hours, And so you write a list down, but then really cut and come back to the three most important. But you don't just want to state what you didn't like about your job. What you also want to do is, how did it make you feel? Okay, so as an example, I was working really long hours, and I still had three kids at home, and I was feeling really guilty leaving them, having to eat supper alone, missing out on all their, activities that were fun. I was missing out on time that I wanted to spend with them, and I was feeling guilty about leaving them alone. I know that it was important to them to have the parents around and see them evolve in their sports. Okay, so you want to name the pain, but you also want to name how you felt about it. All right, because we want people to relate to our emotions. We want to connect with them. All right, so focus on three. Okay, and name the pain and name how you felt about it. Okay, how it made you feel. Okay, so we did number one. If you want to write it down in the comments, number one is your background. Okay, number two, we're talking about what you didn't like about your job. All right, and we want to include feelings in there. And then the third point is you found a solution. Okay, so somebody introduced you to Max International, the business opportunity, or maybe they introduced you to a product, and so you found a solution. All right, so you want to say, for me, my upline, she was one of my clients, and she just spoke to me about the business, and when I saw the business opportunity, for me it was like, wow, I think I found an escape. Okay, so I found a solution to my problem. So when you're talking about the solution, it helps to know that, okay, there is a plan, there is something that could help me actually get out of this job that I don't like, or have an opportunity to maybe keep my job because I like it, but maybe earn a little bit more money. Okay, so you found a solution. So that would be the third point. You found a solution. All right, and and then the fourth one would be, if you talk about, and your solution, it doesn't have to solve. You don't be afraid to think that, oh, but I haven't solved my problem yet. It doesn't matter. You're working on it now. What's important is that you found something, okay, and you can say, now I know how to get out of my mess. Okay, so even if you haven't reached like your goal, or you're not earning like the money that you're aiming for right now, it doesn't matter. What you want for the person to think is that, okay, I can relate. I have the same problem she does. She found something, and it's going to bring her to another spot. Okay, so you found a solution. And the fourth one is, you want to tell the people how you feel about your future. Okay, so now that you found the solution, how is it going to change your life? Okay, so you actually found a solution, and you feel about your future, knowing that you have a plan. Okay, so focusing on, I have a plan now, and it's going to make a difference. Okay, I'm going to be getting rid of my pain points and so on. Just one second. All right, it's dry in here. All right, so that's basically it. That's the the four elements to tell your story. All right. So, oh, I'm really sorry about that. All right, and so we want people to have. You'll realize as you're telling your stories that people have the same concerns, the same pains, the same fears, the same doubts. It doesn't matter what profession, what job. So, and that's what makes it easy to relate to the people. All right, it's going to make you more human. The people are going to feel that you are authentic. You're going to connect with them. You're going to build belief. You're going to build trust, and you can show them that, here's where I was, and here I'm going. This is where I'm going. For some of you that already have success with Max, sometimes people can't relate to if you're just telling the story of who you are now. It's important because to come back to what you were before, because your before is probably your now, the person's now. And they can see that they can go from one point and go to the next point. All right, so it's really important. So learn to craft your story, and you want to teach your new prospects, not prospects, but associates, to craft their story also. So we have to become really good storytellers, and you should also be collecting other people's stories. Whenever you hear somebody's story, write them down, write their name. You can always use them for a call, for a three-way call. And yeah, so you shouldn't be in meetings and not taking notes. You should be learning other people's stories and being able to connect them to somebody else all the time. All right, so here's an assignment. Okay, so he never leaves us without an assignment. All right, so the first thing is you're going to write down your story. Okay, write it down using the elements that we've just mentioned: the background, what I didn't like about it, I found a solution, and how do I see my future. All right, make sure you write it down. Focus on 3 points when you're talking about what you didn't like about your job, and remember to include how you felt with that pain. And set a timer and practice it. Okay, and you'll see, the first time I told my story, I think it took me 5 minutes. I had to cut until I finally got it down to 2 minutes. And really, it's really important. You don't want your story to go on forever. Okay, 2 minutes, aim for 2 minutes. So write it down, repeat it, just read it, time yourself, and once you've got it done and you're pretty happy with the story, then you're going to go practice. Okay, so the second assignment is you're going to go tell your story to 10 people. And you know what? Sometimes even our spouse doesn't know our story. I had never told my story to my spouse, and I was really nervous to tell him my story, but I said it's got to start with him for sure. All right, so your spouse probably never heard your story. Your kids don't know your story. Maybe your closest friends don't know your stories. Your brothers, your sisters don't know your story. So start with them and just give them a call, or just get them in the room and say, I want to tell you my story, but you want to repeat it at least 10 times. And just tell them, look, I'm not looking to recruit you. I just need to practice telling my story so that I get good at it. So can I tell you my story? All right, so that's the assignment. You want to write down your story, craft it, get it in 2 minutes, and then the second assignment is you want to go tell at least 10 people about your story, and you don't want to take forever. Give yourself 24 hours to get that done. All right, so how many are going to actually complete the assignment? Just write done in the comments so we can see, and then come back and share your experience. Okay, what you've learned about telling your story. You'll see your children and your spouse are going to be surprised from what you have crafted from your story. And Eric Worre was also saying that a lot of people were asking, should I share my story on social media? And he said, you can share your story on social media, but before you share it on social media, make sure that it's already like fine-tuned and you've said it at least 50 times so that it's easy to come out and practice and say it, and that it's already like following the 4 elements, and it's only under 2 minutes. So before you go out and post it on social media, make sure you go and practice with your friends, your family, your dog if you have to, and your cat if you're really shy. It doesn't matter. Okay, but learn to tell your story and make sure you get it under like 2 minutes. Follow the skeleton, and remember, whenever you're doing something, your associates are watching, and they're always wondering, can I do this? So keep it simple. Okay, so 2 minutes, not a 1 hour story. It's just a 2-minute story. All right, so that was the summary of day 25, which was just using another tool, implementing a very powerful tool, telling your story like we've already heard before. Facts tells, but stories sell. You're going to gain the trust of the people, the belief, the connection. You're going to be more relatable. People are going to be more open to hear the opportunity once you've actually opened up your heart and talked about your experience. And so this is it for the summary. I'm going to post the summary in writing right after this call, this live is ended. So you'll have like just a summary of the tips to help you create your story. And make sure you come back and let us know that you've practiced it at least 10 times. All right, so that's it for now, and have an amazing day, and love to hear your story. Bye-bye.